We are online.
Good afternoon, members of the press. I'm sure you are very, very aware of what has transpired today and why we have asked you to come for this impromptu press briefing. I'm sure nobody is amused with what has happened with the Registrar of Societies, because if you have followed the issues from as far back as last year, when Nyamusenge started being truant, we knew that he was being used by PF, and the whole purpose was to try and lay a foundation on which to deregister NDC. Because PF knows very well that we are a formidable force in the political arena. PF knows very well that they cannot survive beyond 2021 as long as NDC is in existence. That they cannot survive beyond 2021 as long as Kambwili remains the president of the NDC. You have seen what has transpired. We've called you here several times to share with you the behavior, the unbecoming behavior of Nyamusenge, all his truancy and all his manipulations to try and destroy NDC. Last week I called a meeting at my residence, I think it was Friday, where I told you that we have received concrete information that Nyamusenge has been tasked by Kampyongo and President Edgar Lungu to register a party called Zoom before they deregister NDC. You saw what happened when Nyamusenge refused entirely that he had nothing to do with Zoom. But I can rest assure you that they are in the process of registering political party called Zoom. Their plan was that when they deregister NDC, then our members can be swallowed by Zoom so that NDC and its members go in oblivion. But I've said, and I want to say it again, that ichapangwa na lesa tapalifena ngumo muntu winga chona ule. NDC is a creation of God. We prayed to God and we asked God to give us guidance on how we are going to approach issues to try and save the integrity of this country, to try and save the democracy of this country, to try and save the suffering masses in this country. And you agree with me that since the demise of President Michael Sata, or may I say, from the time President Michael Sata moved out of opposition, there's never been a formidable opposition that has given PF sleepless nights than the NDC. And PF knows very well that we are capable of upsetting them in 2021. So they decided to compromise Nyamusenge so that they destroy NDC. All their manipulations, all their meetings, we were being informed step by step. And last week when they had a meeting with Nyamusenge and the Minister of Home Affairs plus the Registrar of Societies, everything that they had planned, we know. Now let me say that the Registrar of Societies' pronouncement is illegal. She's not supported by any law whatsoever. And what she has done is what I can call misbehaving in a public office. That's misbehavior of the worst kind in a public office. Because, first and foremost, when the registrar has cause or belief under Section 13 of the Registrar, the Registrar of Societies Act, he or she is supposed to write the concerned political party, giving them 3 weeks, 21 days, asking them to show cause why that organization cannot be deregistered. We have not been written to by the registrar. We have not received any notice from the registrar or societies. To make it worse, even this deregistration, the Secretary General, have you received anything?
No.
We have not received any letter from the registrar of societies. We have learned about the deregistration of NDC through a circulation, media circulation by Smart Egos, which is a publication at State House. We have not received any correspondence whatsoever from the Registrar of Societies. Suffice to mention that the entire 2 weeks, the Vice President, our legal counsel, who have gone to work on the documents to go to court, have been going to the Registrar of Societies office to make sure that, one, all the requirements by the registrar are in order, and of course to get an approval or correspondence to the effect that in May this year we did file an amended constitution with the registrar, but she has not written to us confirming that she has received the amended constitution. So the entire last week, Mr. Simfuka, the administrative, and the Vice President had been going to the office of the registrar. Suffice to state that she has been running away from them. Every time they go, she uses the back door to exit the office. And they are told by the secretary, no, she has rushed for the meeting. She says, come tomorrow at 14 hours. For 2 weeks, she has been avoiding to see the NDC team. Now, how can she, through Ministry of Home Affairs, announce by way of a press statement that NDC has been deregistered? This is unacceptable. That's why I said that is misbehaving in a public office. But I feel sorry for her. I feel very sorry for her because she's under pressure from Kampyongo. She's under pressure from Kampyongo to have NDC deregistered. By the way, she even opened up to one of our members that whatever you are seeing happening, it's not me. It's instructions from the minister. But please don't mention me. So we know that the registrar is a professional person. But I think what she has done is misconduct and misbehavior in a public office. To go and do something illegal. Members of the press, the registrar, according to the press statement that we've got, has quoted 2 things. One, she quoted Section 13. The registrar says she has exercised her powers, which under Section 13 of the Societies Act. Under Section 13, the reasons for deregistration of any society or political party are well spelled out. And the reason that she has given of a dysfunctional or inoperative constitution is not one of the reasons. And by the way, if she's saying we have an inoperational constitution, it must be noted that one, when you go to register a society or a political party, it is a requirement by law that you submit a constitution. That constitution is subject to going through by the registrar to confirm that this constitution meets the standards of registration. If the constitution does not meet the standard of registration, the registrar has the power to return it back to the originators and say, look at section 3 or section 4 and go and make amendments before we register you. When we went to register NDC, we were not told that the constitution was defective. She accepted it, registered us, and we have been paying annual returns. How can she come today and say that the constitution is inoperative? This shows you that she's acting in a manner that does not conform to a requirement in that office. There is no reason under section 13 that the registrar can register a political party if there is a lacuna in the constitution. Because what is there in our constitution is just a lacuna. And what you do to correct the lacuna is just to amend. And let me make mention that in May, and we've got all the correspondence stamped by the registrar's office, in May, long before we went to court, we took an amended constitution to the registrar by way of a resolution and notice, which she has in her office. How then can she say that our constitution is defective? Secondly, she has quoted the Constitution of Zambia. Is it Article 62?
Article 60.
Article 60, which talks about intra-party elections, countrymen and women. How many political parties today have not had elections? Tell me when FDD lastly had elections. Tell me when UNIP had elections. Tell me when Sakwiba Squatters, what party is that? I am an Asharaneka party, sometimes we even forget their names. What is it called? United Liberal Party. When did they have elections? Have they even ever have elections? Right Musoma, who is always at State House, when did they have elections? Dan Pule, when did they have elections? UPND had elections 10 years ago. So how can she quote Article 60 that talks about having intra-party elections as a reason to deregister NDC? And by the way, the registrar does not have powers under the Constitution because she's not a Constitution office order. Her powers are in the Societies Act. All our operations are supposed to be derived from the Societies Act. And the Societies Act does not give her any powers, and that is why she went to quote the Constitution, because she knows that there is no section under the Registrars Act that gives us power, that give her power to do what she has done. And I can tell her that we are ready for them. Zambia is not a lawless state. We have every confidence in our courts, and that we have decided to go to court over this matter. First, to obtain an injunction, or to apply for judicial review to see whether the registrar has powers to deregister a political party on the basis that the Constitution has a lacuna. And by the way, they are referring to the court judgment in their statement. They are saying the court ruled. What the court said was that it was difficult for the court to determine whether NDC was registered or not because Musenge did not submit a registration certificate at the time he took us to court. That does not mean that the court has ruled that we are not registered. So I want to warn my dear younger brother, scared little men, Kampion, that young man, you are drunk with unknown powers, swimming in wrong waters under very big jackets. Power is sweet, but it must be checked. Power is sweet, Kampion, but it must be checked. Otherwise, you land yourselves one day into problems. All the meetings you've been having for the deregistration of NDC, we've gotten wind of them. And what you have done to us is a laughable matter, is a laughing matter, because it's a very small setback. And the people who know how to interpret the law will show you that you don't have absolute power to do illegal things because you are minister. You are not the first Minister of Home Affairs, and you will not be the last Minister of Home Affairs. Even today, the mass newspapers editorial was talking about Kampiongo abusing his authority. And again, here is another clear case of abuse of authority. And by the way, when a political party is registered, we expect that the press statement or press release must come from registrar of societies, because they've got a public relations office there. But you can see that the statement is coming from Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, if the registrar of societies deregistered or cancels the certificate and you are not satisfied, you are supposed to appeal to the minister. Now, the minister is the first one to issue a statement that this political party has been deregistered. How then can you appeal to a minister who has vested the interest? So in conclusion, let me say that the decision of the registrar is an abuse of authority, illegal and not supported by any law. We therefore decide that we are going to go to court to challenge the decision of the registrar. And we have observed with a lot of concern that public servants, mark this word, public servants have continued abusing their authority under pressure from politicians like Kampiongo. In this case, we have instructed our lawyers to sue the registrar in an individual capacity for misfeasance in public office. Misfeasance in public office. We are going to take her on as an individual, and then she will tell the court who directed her to make that unreasonable decision. Because if we continue suing the Attorney General, these people will get away with their misbehavior. So we are going to take on the registrar as an individual, and also we are going to raise a complaint through the office of the public protector, so that we set an example that public officers must learn to act professionally and not claim that they are acting under pressure or duress from unreasonable, scared small men like Kampion. Are there any questions? And by the way, we have a John Walker president who has left the country amidst high prices of meal, for which citizens cannot afford. Amidst hostility measures, he has decided 3 days he was in Tanzania. He came back to the country only 2 days. He jumped on another plane to go to India. 2 days he came back, he jumped on another plane to go to Japan. Did we elect a president, Kamwendo Munjila, or John Walker? We elected a president to sit in the office and resolve issues affecting the people of Zambia. Or they want this issue they've brought in of the registration of NDC. They want to shift the attention of the Zambians from the high cost of millimil to start talking about the issue of NDC. But we are well ahead of them. We have already instructed our lawyers. By the end of today, they would have filed the process in court. And we leave it to our courts, in whom we have a lot of confidence to resolve this issue. For Mwenyamusenge, I wish you all the best in your new political party, and may your political soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Any questions?